With only 31 games left in the regular season, the Braves' quest for the postseason is heating up. Atlanta comes to New York for a 3-game series with the Mets, just a half game out of the final National League wildcard spot. Tonight, Alex Wood takes the mound, looking to send the crowd home early in the city that never sleeps. It's a beautiful day in the Big Apple. Folks all over the place in Central Park on a gorgeous late August afternoon, and hopefully the outcome will be as beautiful as the weather for the Braves, who open up a big 3-game series here in New York against the Mets. All year long, Braves baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, the right stuff, the low price every day. This is a big series for Atlanta, their third and final stop on this 3-city road trip. Got to find a way to beat up on the Mets, as Atlanta just a half game back now in the National League wild card race. Hi again, friends. Joe and Chip, welcome to the ballpark. This road trip continues here in New York. The Braves, a disappointing series with the Reds, I think. They won the first 2 games, ended up splitting the 4-game series because the offense was put into hibernation by the Reds ball club. Can't afford to let that happen tonight because Alex Wood is pitching for the Braves, and when he's gotten run support, he's been awfully tough to beat.
Yeah, he knows all about the offensive hibernation at times because of his lack of run support. But Alex Wood arguably has been the best pitcher for the Braves over the last month and a half, and that's with all due respect to Irvin Santana. 2-1 with a 1.89 ERA. Well on his way to a shutout. His last time out against the Pirates, things kind of went sideways in the 8th inning, and the Braves lost that ball game. But he's been on fire.
And if Atlanta's going to support Alex Wood, they've got to find a way to beat Dylan G. The Mets right-hander has long been a pain in the side for this Braves ball club, but Joe, maybe they're catching him at the right time.
Yeah, he's not pitching well at all right now, but that really doesn't mean anything the way he's pitched against the Braves. His last 4 starts himself, awesome in terms of his numbers against the Braves, but he's got to get some things turned around from what he's been doing lately, and that has not been very good baseball.
Final trip of the year for Atlanta here in the Big Apple. These are critical games for Freddie Gonzalez and the Braves. When we come back, Tom Hart will have a wild card breakdown for you as the Braves try to chase down a playoff spot with a little more than a month of baseball left in regular season play.
Baseball is brought to you by AT&T Uverse, Ford, Delta Airlines, and Synovus, the bank of here.
What a beautiful night for baseball, as Chip said, as we get set for the first of three between the Braves and the New York Metropolitans. Tom Hart at the ballpark. Time now to break down those numbers that Chip was referencing just a moment ago. But before we do, let me tell you that things are looking bleak in other National League wildcard cities. The San Francisco Giants last night committed 4 errors, had their manager ejected, and allowed a run to score on a balk. They lost again to the Colorado Rockies. Since the All-Star break, the St. Louis Cardinals have one of the worst starting rotation ERAs in all of baseball, 24th as a matter of fact. So, what do the numbers look like? Well, according to Baseball Perspective, the Braves right now would be on the outside looking in among the top 5 National League wildcard teams in terms of the opportunity to make it into the postseason, that playoff percentage. The opponent winning percentage is at .490. That's second toughest. But 10 of the 16 remaining games that the Braves have against winning teams come at home. Freddie Gonzalez says the race is on, and it is on now.
Oh no, I think we started that. You know, I think we're not waiting to start that. I think it's every last 3 or 4 series is, we're in it. We're in it.
Well, you never want to go down the list and pencil in W's and L's, but there's no question that these remaining 2 series against the Mets are huge. So is one at Texas, a team that's been struggling, and 2 remaining against the Phillies. The most important, 2 series still remaining against the Washington Nationals, 1 at home and 1 on the road. Should be a fun September, but first, got to get out of August in a series win here in New York against Dylan G and the Mets. Alex Wood takes them out for the Braves, and first pitch is coming up next.
Area Mazda dealers. Beautiful night for baseball in New York. The Braves and Mets open up a 3-game series. This is a very busy sporting time in the Big Apple. You've got the U.S. Open tennis tournament just across the way at the Arthur Ashe National Tennis Center. So big crowds all up and down the subway lines here in the Big Apple for the Braves and Mets and the tennis tournament across the way. The Braves starting lineup features Freddie Freeman hitting third. It's presented as always by Toyota. As you know, Freeman is a New York Mets killer. Look what he's done in his last 16 games here at Citi Field. Tommy La Stella back in there at second base. So is Andrelton Simmons at shortstop. A game off in Cincinnati, a day off yesterday Hopefully the left ankle is good to go, Joe, the rest of the way for the Braves.
Absolutely. They'll go against Dylan G, 28 years old, 6'1", 205, out of Cleburne, Texas. He's 4-6 on the year. But check this day-night split. 10 night games, 1-6 with a 5.10 ERA. That's kind of hard to figure since so many games in the major leagues now are at night, and because he's a better pitcher than that, we thought. 11 of his 14 home runs at night as well. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. Number 1, tonic. Braves, are they the tonic to get him going? Because he's 0-5 over his last 7 starts. And homers. In New York, it's pronounced homers. He's giving up way too many homers, Peter. So he's going to have to get that under control.
14 of them in only 100 innings this season for right-hander Dylan G. You know, Jason Hayward can hit a homer or two. He's been hitting everything in sight. He rides a 6-game hitting streak entering play today. And Hayward's mark at 272 with 10 homers and 52 knocked in. And we're underway, ball 1. .78 degrees.
Beautiful.
And Hayward launches to center. Lagares going back. Still going back. Is going to get there a step shy of the track. Hayward gave it a ride but hit it to the deepest part of the park. It's 408 feet to straightaway center.
Obviously, that's not where you want to hit it in this ballpark. That's also not the defender you want to pick on in this ballpark. Juan Lagares is as good as it gets. He plays shallow, and yet he still gets to drives like that in the gaps. He's as good as it gets defensively in the National League in center field.
Leads National League center fielders in defensive runs saved this year. And he took away a hit try by Jason Hayward. Emilio Bonifacio batting second, playing center tonight. And he takes a strike. Braves have a 30-22 record this year against their divisional foes. They're 7-6 against the Mets. On a 4-3 road trip through Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and now New York. I'm still shocked at those numbers you showed us earlier. Last 28 games, 14-14 against the Mets.
Every number is equal for both sides.
Out of play by Emilio. It's 1-2.
Dylan G, 86-91 with his fastball. Throwing more fastballs this year than normal, other than he did last year, I should say. Good curveball. You've just seen that against Bonifacio. Slider and a change. But he has had a real hard time of it since July 9th when he beat the Braves 4-1. He hasn't won since.
Little flare into shallow right center field. Lagares plays shallowly and tracks that one down. He's running from pillar to post here in the opening inning. A fly out and a pop out. Bases empty for Freddie Freeman. 2 down.
Well, if you've never watched this guy play before, you're going to be in for a real treat over the next 3 nights, because he can go get them.
Let's see if Freddie can hit one out of reach of Lagares. And he takes the ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 17 homers, 68 knocked in for the Braves first baseman. The Reds held him hitless in his last 10 at bats. Off his knuckles, popped up toward third. Campbell has room. A quick check of the tarp, and he makes the play. And Dylan G retires the Braves in order. 1-2-3 in the top of the first. Alex Wood to the mound for Atlanta. We're just underway at Citi Field. 1-70 record this season. Eric Young Jr. leads off the starting nine for their skipper, Terry Collins. Their nine brought to you by Toyota as well. Curtis Granderson has hit the Braves hard this year, as has Lucas Duda. He is riding an unbelievable streak. 5 homers, 11 RBIs in his last 7 games. Travis d'Arnaud has been swinging the bat well since coming back from AAA. And it's Alex Wood's turn to knock off Dylan G and get the Braves back in the win column tonight.
Alex will be looking for his 10th win. He's 9-9, a 3.05 ERA, and the reason for that good ERA is that he's at his best when he's got runners on. Check out those numbers with runners in scoring position and 2 outs and runners in scoring position on the year. His 4 keys to pitching success: he's not beaten the Mets. So get Citi-fied. Pick up that first W tonight right here in Citi Field. And ambushes. They've got some guys like Granderson and like Duda who will ambush you on the first pitch. Be aware of that as the game goes along.
Eric Young Jr. leads off. He's the Mets left fielder. And he takes the ball outside. Is it hard to look past the fact that Murphy and Wright are not playing and let your guard down against a team like the Mets?
I think that would be possible. I'm sure he came to the park and had been preparing for this start, knowing that they would be in there. So you just have to shift gears a little bit and just assume that whomever Terry Collins is putting in the lineup is somebody that may be swinging the bat pretty well right now, a hot hitter. That's not the case for Eric Young. He's been struggling.
192 batting average since the 1st of July and just 227 overall this season. But a threat to steal if you put him on.
Yeah, you got to make him swing.
At times, retiring the first batter in the game has been an issue for Alex. Let's see if he can take care of business here with Eric Young. And a roller foul. And the count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Alex's last start against the Pirates on this trip should have been a W, but things got away from him in the 8th inning. He had thrown 7 shutout innings, and then a leadoff walk in the 8th and a double. Those 2 guys came around to score and gave him a no decision.
That's out of play to the right. And Young will see another 2-2 pitch. To short, where Andrelton Simmons is back in the lineup, and he takes care of EY. And there's out number 1. The Atlanta defense has a different look tonight, especially in the outfield, with Bonifacio in center. Upton and Hayward flank him in left and right, respectively. Simmons and LaStella, the double play combo up the middle. Johnson and Freeman at the corners. And Evan Gattis is behind the plate. Here's Granderson. Let's see if he is in ambush mode. He took a strike.
Tough to ambush somebody when they start you with a slow curve.
He's really held Curtis down in the early weeks of the season. He started the year 0 for 23 at the plate against Braves pitching. He's 8 for 29 since, with 4 homers against the Braves.
Now, the last 2 meetings, the last 2 series, he's hit 4 homers. Terry Collins told me today before the ball game that there is a consideration being given to move the fences in right field a little bit from that 390 mark across to straightaway right field. And he said he thinks that Granderson probably have 25 homers right now if it weren't for that well out there. It's 375 mark.
And Granderson got hit by a pitch. Wood was asking if that ball was fouled away, and the home plate umpire Fletcher says no, and Freddie Gonzalez is going to come out and make sure.
That looked like the knob of the bat. Maybe not.
Yeah, I think Curtis Granderson found out very quickly, Joe, that right field at Citi Field is nothing like right field at Yankee Stadium.
Well, I brought that up to Terry Collins. He said he might have 35 homers if he were playing at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, it's a gigantic ballpark. They've already moved the fences in left field about 10, 12 feet. We'll see if they do it in right for guys like Granderson and Lucas Duda. Here's Eric Campbell filling in for David Wright. Wright's had a bad shoulder for a couple of months. That bad shoulder's affected his neck, so much so that he can't turn his neck without pain to look at the pitches thrown his way in the batter's box. David was also in the throes of a 4-for-32 slide at the plate. In the air to left, Upton broke in, now heads back and makes the play shy of the warning track. 2 outs, and here's Duda. For a Mets team that's 9 games under 500 and has struggled mightily all year on offense, I would say, Joe, this guy has been their offensive MVP.
And it was a decision they had to make early on if they were going to go with Duda or Ike Davis. They traded Davis to the Pirates, and boy, they are very happy with the deal they made, or excuse me, with the decision they made. This guy's hit more home runs, tied for the most since the All-Star break with 12.
Yeah, his numbers stack up very, very comparably to the Braves first baseman Freddie Freeman's. Freddie's hit for a higher average. Duda has more homers and RBIs. Very similar defensively, too. And looked at ball 1 from Alex Wood.
Pretty good road trip.
And that's a strike. That road trip was in Oakland and Los Angeles against the Dodgers, so he wasn't exactly hitting against bad pitching staffs.
Or small parks.
That's a good point. Anderson swiped 8 bags this year. Got a pretty good lead here with 2 outs.
Curve.
If there's something Duda has to improve at the plate, it's his work against left-handed pitchers. He has not hit them well this year, just 154. And 1 of his 26 homers. Little pop. Simmons with the shift on is there. He's got it. And Alex Wood has little trouble with the Mets in the bottom of the first inning. Justin Upton gets ready to go for the Braves in the second. He's been red hot for the Braves. Let's see if he can get something started in a scoreless game at Citi Field.
US Open across the parking lot, Braves and Mets here at Citi Field, first of 3. Welcome back to the ballpark. I'm Tom Hart. It's not very often we talk bullpen news in the second inning, but some injury updates you should know about. First and foremost, Corey Guerin is making his way back from Tommy John surgery. He will now start throwing, light load, 10 throws at 30 feet. Gavin Floyd saw a local doctor here. His exercises will improve, still not throwing. But the big news comes from Johnny Venners. They had hoped to get him up and throwing with a couple of different bullpen sessions on this road trip. It will not happen. Johnny has been shut down for the rest of the season. He hasn't pitched since the wild card game in 2012, and after his second Tommy John, he won't get a chance to this year. His numbers were quite frankly amazing in 2010 and 11. No one in Major League Baseball came out of a bullpen more often than Johnny Venners did. He will see Dr. James Andrews immediately, either today or tomorrow. We hope for positive news in the days to come.
That's really disappointing, Tom, for all of us that are Johnny Venners fans, but especially since he was on part of this road trip and doing some throwing. And I thought things were progressing at a slow rate, cautious rate, but I thought things were doing well. I thought he felt good.
Justin Upton's the hitter for the Braves here in the second, and let's look at it again from a big picture standpoint. It was hoped that Johnny would come back from his Tommy John and maybe be ready to pitch for the Braves second half of the season.
Right.
And that's a big absence, especially in light of Braves' struggles in retiring left-handed hitters at times out of the bullpen.
Well, and the Braves and Johnny were very cautious, as I said, taking it slow. Original thoughts were maybe he'd be back by June, then the All-Star break, and here we are in late August, so that's a real shame.
Upton cranks one into the seats, foul to the left, full count. Braves left fielder.
Chance of hitting an empty seat tonight.
They're all across the street at the tennis matches. Here it's love, love. And Upton's aboard. There's your first Braves base runner. A leadoff walk for Dylan G. Chris Johnson at third base again tonight, batting fifth, 9 homers, 55 driven in. Chris has 11 hits against the Mets, 5 RBIs this season. And a belt high strike, 0-1. We saw how explosive, how crisp, how sharp the Braves looked when they got early runs against the Reds. And against the Pirates, for that matter, too.
Sure.
Sliced out of play into the seats to the right. Balls, 2 strikes. Upton a good lead. And a shot toward Campbell at third. He'll fire to second, and a nifty turn by Wilmer Flores. Flores in for Murphy at second. Wouldn't know it. Quick double play by the Mets. Base is empty for Gaddis.
Nice quick feed too by Campbell. Chest high throw, and as hard as Justin was trying to get to him, he couldn't get to Flores. Jumped too far out of the way.
Chris Johnson's hitting to his 19th double play. And here's Gaddis. Gaddis with 20 homers, 50 knocked in. Back-to-back seasons with 20 homers for Gaddis in his rookie and now his sophomore big league season. Dylan G's way ahead of him, 0-2.
D'Arnaud wanted that fastball up. Dylan G better break out his best four-seamer up there against Gaddis, and he better make sure he gets it about shoulder high. Try it again.
Always a luxury to have a young player step into your lineup and put together back-to-back 20-homer seasons. To do it as a catcher is a huge luxury. As Gaddis down on strikes, there's that curveball from Dylan G, and that's his first strikeout in tonight's ball game. We are underway in New York. We'll see if Alex Wood can hold serve in Game 1 next.
Toyota and AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Last visit to New York in 2014 for the Braves. We're off to a scoreless start here in the home second inning. Christian pop rock band Newsboys perform a free post-game concert this Sunday after the Braves take on the Marlins. VIP field passes are available for the show for just $20 each. Go to Braves.com/concerts today. It's sure to be a great show.
Is that their dads, or is that Newsboys?
I don't know.
Okay.
Alex Wood with Travis d'Arnaud, the Mets catcher. Tale of two seasons for Mr. d'Arnaud. He got off to an awful start. Went to AAA and has figured out how to hit the baseball up here. 12 homers for him now. 12 homers, the most ever in a single season for a Mets rookie catcher. One of d'Arnaud's homers came against the Braves. Strike.
And it got out of the ballpark in a hurry, as I recall. Jumped off his bat. He's always had the scouting report of a guy who's going to hit. He's going to hit at the big league level. He will be a work in progress defensively, and he's doing pretty decent at that right now. So the fact that he stubbed his toe a little bit offensively surprised everybody, but looks like he's got it figured out.
And the average, nothing to hang your hat on. But when you factor in all those other responsibilities, handling your staff, figuring out the other team's pitchers, work required defensively, some growing pains might be expected, but that's tough to do here in New York. Wood just missed. He's run the count full to Travis d'Arnaud. Lagares next, then Wilmer Flores. Line to right field by d'Arnaud. Nice piece of hitting. He's the second Mets base runner. That's their first base hit of the game. Leadoff man aboard here in the home second.
Came on a backdoor breaking ball. He just served it to right field, hit it right at you. I'm not even sure if this was a strike. Let's take a look here. Way around the plate. He waited on it nicely.
Juan Lagares with 38 RBIs. Rolls one toward third foul. The Mets center fielders behind in the count. Lagares riding a modest 3-game hit streak, but he has 5 hits in that stretch, covering 11 at bats. He's another Met the Braves have handled. He's 11 for 38 at the plate against the Braves with only 4 RBIs.
As Braves fans have been taught since the early 90s, you develop championship teams with pitching and defense and go from there. And if that's the case for the Mets, they're on their way to putting together a real solid ball club based on that philosophy.
In the air to shallow left. Lagares hit a curveball softly, but safely. 2 on, nobody out.
By now you probably know about all their good arms they have, both the ones here at the big league level and the ones that are coming in the minor leagues. But they've also established that they're going to be a strong defensive ball club with Lagares in center, trying to be strong up the middle. d'Arnaud, as I said, still improving behind the plate. Corner guys, you want some power on the corners. You got Wright and Duda. They got to have David Wright be David Wright next year. And then with Granderson, a veteran presence, if they can maybe add a player or two somewhere along the way for next season offensively, they're going to be very tough to beat next year.
Downstairs, there was some talk earlier this year that maybe they were in the hunt for Troy Tulowitzki, that maybe they'd be in the hunt for Starlin Castro of the Cubs. Because, as you said, the Mets have that surplus of pitching that every team in Major League Baseball wants to try to get.
Yeah, they've got a position of strength to deal from to get what they need. And next year won't be one of those, well, we're going to shoot for 500. You know, we need to take a step and try to play 500. I don't think that will be uttered next year with this ball club. They'll be poised to contend for the National League East.
Yeah, with Matt Harvey coming back, with the emergence of Jacob deGrom, Zach Wheeler's turned the page and turned the corner, it appears. We'll see him here tomorrow night. That ball's hit in the air by Flores to center. And tagging at second will be d'Arnaud. He will make his way to third. Productive out for Wilmer Flores. And now Ruben Tejada will hit with men at the corners and 1 out.
Get Bobby Parnell back too.
So first scoring chance of the night for the Mets. And the records when scoring first for the Braves in New York is our Home Depot Tools from the Dugout feature.
And mighty important for both of these ball clubs. You see how the Braves really take care of business when they've got the lead first. Mets, the second worst record in the National League, because they've blown so many leads. I forget how many. I think only the Diamondbacks have blown more leads than the Mets. 33 in all for New York.
So yeah, they've missed Parnell. They've tried a whole host of guys in the closer role this year. So that's another area where they figure to be improved in 2015. Line to left. It's 1-0 New York. There's that ambush you were talking about. Tejada picked on the first pitch. He brings home d'Arnaud, and the Mets have scored the first run of the game. 3 singles here in the inning.
Fastball looked like a two-seamer. Trying to get a ground ball, maybe get a double play ball, but Tejada put a good swing on it.
So Dylan G will stand in. As a hitter, he's a terrific pitcher.
Yes. Figure he's got to be bunting, don't you? 0 for 24. That would be a bingo.
No sign of a bunt on the first pitch.
Tim Tuffle, third base coach. This might be kind of one of those Aaron Harang type of at-bats. Freddie Gonzalez told Harang with the bases loaded the other day, I don't mind you going up there and making 1 out, don't make 2.
Young's on deck. And now the 0-2 pitch for Dylan G. And he couldn't get the bunt down. He is struck out for the 13th time this year. Runners first and second, 2 away for Young. While Collins would have liked to see the bunt laid down successfully, no double play. The inning continues for New York. Young bounced out to Andrelton Simmons to start the game. Lagares and Tejada with good speed aboard for the Mets. Ball 1. I think it's safe to say shortstop and left field are 2 positions the Mets would like to solve going into spring training next season. And another big decision is to Mr. Murphy. Can they or will they re-sign him? Pickoff attempt ricochets away from La Stella, and Freeman backs it up.
Good hustle by Freddie. La Stella couldn't find this ball. It went off his glove, so he's on his knee looking for it, and Freddie broke right away. Good read.
Young didn't get it. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Mets this year 14th in the National League in batting average, 10th in runs scored. Little dribbler toward first. Freeman will lead Alex Poot perfectly to the bag. And that will take care of New York. But the Mets score the game's first run on 3 singles. We head to the 3rd. 1-0. Mississippi, our 2014 Delta Flyaway winner. Tammy will get round-trip airfare for two anywhere Delta flies in the continental United States, a 2-night hotel stay, and a $250 cash card. Congratulations, Tammy. Enjoy your trip.
That's wonderful.
One nothing New York. We head to the third inning. 7-8-9 coming up for Atlanta. Tommy La Stella gets things started. Freddie Gonzalez has said it's not a platoon at second base with La Stella and Phil Gosselin. But it is an opportunity for the Braves manager to see both players get a lot of playing time, and both have earned playing time. That's a nice problem for a manager to have.
Sure is. When they're both contributing, it's a nice thing. I just saw a nice thing on Phil Gosselin, too, that even though the AAA season is not yet over, he was selected as the utility player on the postseason All-Star team in the International League. Quite a compliment to him. And he got votes. Phil got votes at second, short, third, outfield, and DH. So I think that speaks to his level of competence at all those spots on the field. There's Phil next to Evan.
Asking him how to catch, because
yeah, maybe.
2-2 for La Stella. He drives one toward left. Young drifts back, still going, and he'll haul it in for out number one. La Stella, third among rookies in the National League in average. Still leads all National League rookies in on base percentage and walks. So he's had a terrific first major league season. Here's Andrelton, Braves shortstop. 2 days off to take care of that left ankle, we hope. Brings a 3-game hitting streak into tonight's action. And a strike. Keep you up to date on the Nationals and Phillies tonight. That one's scoreless at Citizens Bank Park. Gio Gonzalez and Cole Hamels are working in that ball game. The Phillies beat Washington 3-2 last night. AJ Burnett was awfully good.
Yeah, he pulled one of those beauties out. Struck out 12 in 7 innings.
Ground ball deep short. Nice play. Tejada, poor throw, but Duda came off the bag, and that saved a throwing error for the second out of the inning.
And that kind of play sends shockwaves through Jeff Porter and Jim Lovell and his manager, because of how you've got to change directions trying to avoid the tag. And let's see, what did Gary Lehman tell us that was? That was a pirouette. Nice play by Tejada.
I believe it was against the Mets that Andrelton had to change directions on a non-tag play at the plate in the first weeks of the season that cost him a game or two. When he avoided the tag, didn't slide, and ran into the home plate umpire. So you're right. Easy does it. Straight as a string is how you like Andrelton to run the bases. For the next couple days, as Wood shoots one into center. Lagares diving try. Got there. What a play.
Unreal.
2/3 of the earth is covered by water. The rest has been covered by Juan Lagares, at least tonight. He's made 3 terrific catches, and that one preserves a 1-0 New York lead. We head to the home half of the inning. Granderson, Campbell, and Duda coming up for New York. recipe of play, and Lagares has had himself a great night already through 2.5 innings.
Going back, coming in, and then really coming in. I know he's playing Alex Wood shallow because he's the pitcher, but that was still a great play.
So Dylan G has faced the minimum through 3 innings. He has yet to allow a hit. And he leads 1-0 with Curtis Granderson set to lead things off. Curtis is also the subject of our AT&T Uverse trivia question. Over the last 10 years, name the only player with more homers and stolen bases than Curtis Granderson.
That's a good one. 10 years. So that might go beyond Ryan Braun. About 3 years, 4. Does Alex Rodriguez count? I don't know if he's got that many SBs. Maybe.
So we'll think about that for a while. We'll answer our trivia in a few innings. Granderson hit by a pitch his first time up. Takes ball 1 low. Anderson's averaged 23 homers over the last 10 years, 233 in total to be exact.
Ichiro comes to mind too. Home run wise, I don't know.
He's a guy that could hit 20 if he wanted to, but he never wanted to. And a 4-pitch walk starts the Mets' third. Granderson with 8 steals is aboard for a second time. And here's Campbell, who lined out to left. Campbell's out of Norwich, Connecticut. Big kid, 6'3", 207 pounds. An 8th round pick by New York. Played baseball at Boston College. A co-captain for Boston College. And a strike. Chopper foul at third. Oh, 2 for Eric Campbell. In for David Wright. Campbell was a spring training invite for the Mets. It's always fun to look through the media guide and see who the non-roster players were. Campbell was assigned number 68 down at Port St. Lucie. You make the team, you're not going to wear 68, are you? No. He wears number 29 for the Mets. And the 1-2 pitch with Granderson leading from first. Back to the mound. Wood floats one to Simmons, and it's a double play. 1-6-3 takes care of Campbell and Granderson. 2 out.
That scared me. He turned around and threw that lollipop to second base. A, I was afraid he might throw it away. B, that he might lure Andrelton right into the runner. When you see Andrelton smiling there, but he put the onus on Simmons to have to make sure that they got the double play.
Duda takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Always fun to see guys in the big leagues finally get their chance and make the most of it. Remember, we've seen Duda the last couple of years splitting time with Ike Davis at first. He's played the corner outfield spots. But now that Ike Davis is with the Pittsburgh Pirates, Duda has stepped in and has done a great job for New York.
Sandy Alderson said that he thought that the move back to first base, his original position, he thought made him more comfortable, allowed him to relax a little bit at the plate and put up some of his numbers that they expected.
And so for a Mets team, Joe, that's really looking to solidify their offense, what a nice anchor that they already had in their organization to build the middle of their lineup around.
Well, and right. I mean, like I said, you got some corner guys at first and third who can provide some power moving forward. They've just got to keep David Wright on the field. They've got to keep him healthy. He is so important, so vital to their success. Missed some time a couple of years ago with a bad back. He's had a variety of injuries, but boy, oh boy.
Downstairs for Duda.
2011, 102 games for David Wright. 2012, 156. Last year, back to 112.
And swept off the plate, full count. And David Wright is the Mets' Chipper Jones, if you will. He's the guy that also anchors their lineup. He's their captain. And when he's healthy, he's a tough out. He's not healthy tonight. Don't know if he will be by series end. Popped up into the shift, and that'll carry out to Jason Hayward. And the Braves right fielder makes the play, and that retires the side. Wood issues a leadoff walk, a double play, and a flyout. Moves our game to the 4th inning, where the Mets enjoy an early lead.
Greatness made here. Here's how one Atlanta Brave spent his off day in New York City. Irvin Santana went to the MLB fan cave, and while I'm not quite sure what he was doing, texting and driving, we never encourage that. He did have a great time, he told me, hanging out with the guys in the cave, played some video games. I got him to talk about his hashtag smell baseball. He pointed out to me that he's never smelled a bad baseball. He wasn't the only one in front of cameras. Gerald Laird took his turn on the set last night at MLB Network. Laird said, you know, I'm a natural because all the other guys had notes, and everything I said just came from the top of my head. But if you're going to have an off day, you got a couple of options. Miami's not bad, San Diego isn't bad, and you can certainly find something to do in New York City, just like Chip Carey riding the 7 train all around town yesterday.
No doubt about it. There's nothing quite like it, Tom. As the top of the order comes up here in the 4th inning. No, a quiet day for me. Just a pastrami sandwich and tie shopping with my guy across the street from the hotel. That was about it.
That's a good day.
Several of the traveling party went across the street and watched the tennis matches yesterday,
including Gary and Gretchen.
Well, perfect weather for tennis, baseball, whatever you want. It's ground ball to second. Flores scoops it up. Peg to first in time. One out. Braves still looking for a base hit. We're in the fourth inning against Dylan G, who hasn't won since July 9th, but that win was against, you guessed it, the Braves. This guy has pitched like Nolan Ryan against Atlanta during his career.
That starts 7 innings, gave up 1 run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Again, Braves might be just the tonic for him.
Bonifacio popped out to center. Lagares made a running catch to retire Emilio. Ruben Tejada's RBI single in the second, the game's only run. And an even count. Pitch, and Emilio took it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bonifacio, a switch hitter, batting .279 from the left side. .275 overall this year between the Cubs and the Braves. That's slashed into the seats foul. Nice catch. Fan brought his glove. He's a Braves fan. Of course, he's a good fielding fan. Mets fans even applauded him. They're softening up in late August. See what they can do on the right side. Well, you think about the East. You mentioned it a moment ago about how the Mets may be right back in the thick of things in 2015 if they get their pitching straightened out. Think about the divisional race had Harvey and Jose Fernandez not gotten hurt for the Mets and the Marlins, respectively. Tejada, quick release, good play. Bonifacio with a battle is retired. 2 men down.
Yeah, to what degree Fernandez will be back and when, I mean, remains to be seen in terms of when he's back to 100%. But for Harvey, he's already throwing off the mound. They're having to sit on him to keep him from trying to pitch in September. So he should be raring to go come spring training.
Freeman jumps all over the first pitch he sees and hammers a ball into the right field corner. That's the first Atlanta hit. And it's a 2-out double for the Braves first baseman, whose good work at the plate is our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot.
His last 19 games against the New York Mets, both home and road, a .408 average, 21 RBIs in 19 games. That stood out to me. A lot of extra base hits too, as you see, but driving in some runs, a big part of what he does against the Mets.
So an excellent spot for the Braves to potentially tie the game at the least. This opportunity comes with 2 outs for Justin Upton. 86 ribbies for him. And 32 of Justin's 86 have come in 2-out situations. Three homers, 7 RBIs against the Mets. Upton hitting .333 against New York pitching. He's 17 for 54. That one got by d'Arnaud. He can't find it, and Freeman will lope to third. And he'll stand there with 2 outs.
Here's a small sample size, Chip, but it really rings true. If you go back and look at the Braves' hot streaks during the year, you're going to find that Justin Upton was a big part of it. But Freddie Freeman also, through the first 2 games of that Red Series where the Braves were scoring runs, continuing from the homestand, Freddie had hit 400 over an 18-game stretch. Justin had hit in 13 straight games. They both went 0 for the last 2 games. And there was very little offense there generated by anyone else. So if these 2 guys are going, so go the Braves.
Braves scored runs in 4 of their final 30 innings in Cincinnati, one of the great hitters parks in the National League. And we're 3 for 22 with runners in scoring position in that stretch. Here's their first chance in that category tonight. And Upton skies one back foul, 2 balls, 2 strikes. I think I've used the term, I'm sure many fans have too. Hot or cold, Jekyll and Hyde, whatever you want to use it. I think that's a very apt way of describing the Braves offense in 2014. You really don't know what you're going to get on a game-by-game basis. And that's off the plate. It's full count. Chris Johnson waits next. This was doubled up back in the second.
They know how well Justin's been swinging the bat. You're real surprised they give him anything to hit. Going away with the fastball. And that was way too good a pitch.
I was going to say that was danger zone.
Yeah.
But he got away with it.
Fastball away on a PNC pitch tracks. That was center cut.
Freeman doubled, took third on a wild pitch, and stands there with 2 outs. Line toward the gap, left center field. Nobody's getting that, baby. We're tied. Upton around first on his way to second. He's got a double. Back-to-back 2-out hits for Atlanta. And new life for the Braves. It's a 1-1 score.
Boy, did that ball jump. Lagares wasn't going to track that down. And Dylan G survived one. Didn't survive that one. Made a mistake with the fastball. That may have been a changeup. I'm not sure.
Upton's 24th run batted in this month and his 33rd 2-out RBI this year. Now he's in scoring position for Chris Johnson. I think that's the pitch he wanted to throw Upton. Right on the black outside corner.
That base hit was a big deal to Alex Wood. It gets him back even. He doesn't have the lead yet, but it gets him back even in a ball game where he hasn't pitched particularly well through the first 3 innings. He's had a lot of base runners. So now that he's kind of had that other run washed off, he can get going again.
0-2. And a hanger is hit softly toward left, but playable for Young, who has it to retire the side. Couple of mistakes for Dylan G. Both mistakes were hit for 2 base hits, and that has tied it up in the 4th. And a run. We head to the home fourth. 1-1 is your score. As Joe said, new life for Alex Wood. And Alex is pitching good ball, as is this Braves starting rotation. You'll see what we talk about on our Volkswagen pitching performance.
(7-3) record the last 10 games for the Braves starters. Excellent ERA and opponent's batting average against them. And for Alex Wood, his numbers over his last 5 starts, a 1.89 ERA and a 200 average against him, pretty much speak for him.
So let's see if he can settle into a groove. He faces the only Met to have scored so far tonight. Darno cranks the first pitch down the left field line. That is a fair ball up against the fence. Upton played it well. Darno's headed for second. Close play, and he's in safely with a sliding double.
Ambush. First pitch. The ball hadn't bounced so high up off the fence. Justin had a definite shot at him. Funny slide there too. And came off the bag, but I guess he kept some portion of his foot or leg on there. Maybe not. Here comes Freddie.
Andrelton Simmons does an excellent job of pleading his case to the Braves skipper. Let's see.
Tag. Oh yeah, that foot came into LaStella's foot. If his right hand came off the bag, and actually he pulled his left hand back, so his right hand was the one touching it. If that right hand came off the bag at all, the foot slid into the LaStella's foot.
So Freddie's going to challenge the call. There has to be clear and convincing evidence to overturn the safe call. 25 challenged calls by the Braves this year.
See that foot? That foot is against the foot of LaStella. And he kept the tag on him, so when he went by the bag, there was a separation of Darno from the base.
The only thing we don't know from that angle is whether Darno was able to keep his fingertips on the base.
Watch him pull his left arm back. His right arm is on the bag. We saw from that other angle, though, Chip, from center field, that his hand did come off the base right there. He's out. This will be clearer for the hand. Hand came off.
A little bit of a Superman slide from Darno, man. All he needed was the cape and the tights.
Well, that's what injured David Wright in his shoulder. So, yet another reason not to slide head first. By the way, it's a local call here.
Yes, it is. So Joe thinks Darno should be out. Will there be enough evidence to change Mark Wegner's call at second base? And already this one of the longer replay challenges, and it appears we have the verdict. So the call will stand. We will have to find out after the game what the reason for that decision was.
Hands off the base. Foot was against LaStella.
2-minute 43-second replay review. The call is confirmed at second base. And Lagares will hit. He singled his first time up. And inside. I wish there was a way that replay command could officially notify the TV trucks as to what the eventual decision was and why it was made.
They were supposed to do that. That was part of the deal, was that they would either be able to listen into the conversation.
We all know what the outcome is when the umpire signals safe or out. That's obvious. But my point is, I'd like to know what the rationale for the decision was on that play at second base. Was there not enough evidence, or in the umpire's judgment, did d'Arnaud keep his hand on the bag? That would help all of us understand replay better. And you're right. I was led to believe in spring training that those communications were supposed to be heard by both the home and visiting television production trucks.
Yep.
To my knowledge, that doesn't happen. I'm not sure why. So Freddy Gonzalez challenged the call. He has lost his challenge. The rest of the game, now a 2-1 pitch. He's into the seats to the right. 2-2 for Juan Lagares. A lot of deep counts, it seems, for Alex in the game. He's about to throw his 60th pitch, and he doesn't have an out in the inning. It's the fourth. Flores waiting next.
Lagares has been trying to hit the ball to the right side and keeps fouling the ball off. See if he continues to try that even 3-2. Yep.
Last year was another disappointing season for the Mets. Lagares was quite the find for them. 15 assists in 121 games. He hit .242. Really solidified Mets outfield. An outfield that's been a mess for a couple years. In the air, deep left. Upton back. That one's not coming back. A long homer for Juan Lagares. What an at bat. He's 2 for 2, and he just hit a 2-run homer. And the Mets jump in front 3-1.
Well, I said that RBI double by Justin Upton had to invigorate Alex Wood, but a double and a home run later, he's now down by 2. Changeup.
Fourteenth homer allowed by Alex this year. Lagares has hit his 4th of the season, his first against the Braves. Now Wilmer Flores has an even count. The 5 and 6 hitters for the Mets are 4 for 4 combined tonight. They've scored all 3 runs. Back toward us. Fly ball to right, and Hayward is there, and Jason's got it. There's the first out of the inning. Here's Tejada. Tejada with an RBI hit gave the Mets an early 1-0 lead. Don't know if Tejada's ever going to be what the Mets were hoping he would be. He's still a young man. He's just 24. He's been up and down with the big league club since 2010 and has never really been able to solidify the shortstop position for New York. He's had some good offensive years. 284 in 2011, 289 in 2012. Last year he was exiled to AAA. This season hitting just .232.
Exiled is right. He did some things, said some things when he got sent down that the Mets just decided then enjoy your stay in AAA. We don't need you up here. And they had Omar Quintanilla play shortstop. Hopefully to teach him a lesson.
There's a strike. Earlier this year when the Cubs were in town, a lot of folks were talking about Starlin Castro maybe putting on a Met uniform. Castro's under contract for several more years. Perennial all-star. Cubs are looking for pitching to go with all the young sluggers they're starting to bring to the big leagues. SG slices one on a play foul. It would seem that on paper the Mets and Cubs would match up quite favorably. Another young Cub will make his debut tomorrow. Jorge Soler is called up. He'll debut against the Reds in Cincinnati. Rough inning for Alex Wood, a double and a homer. Darno and Lagares the picks that clicked for Terry Collins' club. We head to the fifth. The Mets lead game one now by a 3-1 score. (3-1) as Evan Gattis and the Braves come a-calling against Dylan G. Tonight's SunTrust shining moment is the Braves catcher.
Only Earl Williams had back-to-back 20 homer seasons in their rookie and sophomore seasons. Earl was the Rookie of the Year, I believe, in '71.
Sharply hit, and that one almost took Campbell with it into left field. That is why they call third base the hot corner. Look.
I hope it got glove and not forearm. Not sure what he's pained there, but that just floated right up in the letters of. Yeah, I think that got some forearm. Right up in the letters of Gattis, and he ripped it.
Tommy La Stella bats, man at first, nobody out. The happiest man in the ballpark about that play is David Wright. He's glad it wasn't him that had to try to handle that smash. Tommy flied out to left his first time. He's got 3 hits in his last 18 at bats. Something else to keep in mind with young players this time of year. Bat sometimes gets a little slow. I think Freddie's done a good job of trying to monitor Lestella's playing time by subbing Phil Gosselin or Bonifacio on the infield.
Well, he's got Andrelton that day off in Cincinnati. Gave Hayward a day off in Cincinnati. That applies to everybody. Dog days.
Sharply hit and a double play. What a grab at first by Duda. And he was able to tag out Evan Gattis before he could get back to first. 2 outs.
Evan did everything he could. First of all, he was having to dodge the baseball if it got by Duda. That took him another step away from the bag. 2 rockets hit.
Braves have hit the 2 double plays tonight. Base is empty now for Simmons. Ball 1. Run on 3 hits for the Braves, 3 runs on 5 hits for the Mets. In the air and into the seats. 2 balls and a strike. I said earlier the Braves scored in 4 of their final 30 innings against the Reds. Got a lot of scoring late. Not much scoring in the early and middle innings after that Pittsburgh series.
No, they had the Freddie Gonzalez proverbial line moving there for about a week. It's fun to watch. When they are doing that, they're as good as any team in the National League.
But the frustrating part is, and you're running into your longtime nemesis Dylan G, but he has not been pitching well for the Mets.
No, he's been awful. Not necessarily tonight.
That has only touched him for 3 hits. And a little tapper. Tejada can't make the play. That ball hit the lip of the grass and stayed down on the Mets shortstop. And a break for Simmons. That'll clear the pitcher. Alex Wood will come up on a 2-out single by the Braves shortstop.
Boy, Andrelton was tearing out of the box too. He knew he had a chance that even if he comes up with it cleanly, Tejada may not be able to throw him out. But that's a good call, Chip. That hit right on the lip of the grass and caused it to stay down. But look at Andrelton hustle down the line. Good idea.
Get on any way you can. Maybe you can surprise the Mets with a 2-out bunt. Wood lined out softly to center. Lagares made a great play to rob him. And a strike from Dylan G. At short, Tejada with a pitcher running, throws a strike to first, and that retires the side. Dylan G is through 5 innings with a 2-run lead, and the top of his order is coming up.
Your Atlanta area Mazda dealers. Georgia Power, the Home Depot, and Zaxby's Indescribably Good.
That's 3 Braves, 1 in game 1 of our series here in Flushing, New York. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Fans get great seats for a low price with Coca-Cola $15 Tuesdays. Club seats are only $15 tomorrow at every Tuesday home game. Visit Braves.com/specials to get this great deal today. Braves are a little road weary right now. This is our 3rd stop on a 3-city 10-game road trip that covers 11 days. 2 more with the Mets, then a brief stop at home, 3 with the Marlins, 3 with the Phillies, then we go right back out of town again. Another 10-game trip to Miami, 3 with Washington, and then 3 in Texas against the Rangers.
3 straight road trips of 10 games or more, 10 days or more at the end of the season. That is awful.
Right now the Braves 4-3 on their current trip, and trying to win their 8th against the Mets. But Alex Wood has served up a long homer to Juan Lagares, who's 2 for 2. His 2-run blast an inning ago has given the Mets their 2-run advantage. Young, Granderson, and Campbell coming up. That's the top of the order, and a 1-hopper right to 3rd. Chris Johnson makes the peg to 1st, and a good start for Alex in the Mets' 5th. 1 down.
You know, we talk a lot about Anderson's defense, and I know we spoke of this at the beginning of the year about how many balls actually went through the left side of the infield.
22%,
yeah,
crazy like that.
Chris Johnson's again played really well at 3rd base. Rarely makes a throwing mistake. It's been a real, I'll call it a pleasant surprise with his defense at 3rd base. I'm not sure any of us really knew how good he was over there. Only made 4 errors?
4.
Wow.
4 errors in 127 games. Name me a 3rd baseman in our league that's had better extended play than that.
Yeah.
So Granderson the hitter, 1 ball 2 strikes for Curtis, and he takes low and in. Wind picking up in New York. It is blowing out toward the right field corner. Bouncing ball to first. Easy pickup for Freddie Freeman. 2 outs. Eric Campbell is the hitter. 0 for 2. And for more on Eric's season with New York, let's check in again with Tom.
All right, Chip, thanks. Eric is a product of Boston College, and that athletic community has been hit hard by ALS. Their longtime Sports Information Director Dick Kelly lost his life to the disease recently, but Pete Freitas is doing something very positive. He's a former Boston College baseball teammate of Campbell, and he was one of the two that spearheaded the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Pete took the challenge himself recently at Fenway Park under the watchful eye of our friend David Ross. It's the same ballpark where, as a Boston College player, he once went 4 for 4. So for a young man who's just 29 years old, diagnosed at 27, to institute this movement like this is really mind-blowing. If you catch Craig Kimbrell on the right day, you might see a workout T-shirt that he wears. It has a BC logo on the left sleeve that was originally part of fundraising efforts way before the Ice Bucket Challenge really got going.
That's really good to know. Great story.
Tom, that wonderful ESPN feature on DeFreitas, was that the young man of whom you're speaking that they spoke of with the challenge?
Yeah, he was a teammate of Campbell's at Boston College. They played together for 2 seasons at BC.
1-2 pitch is in the dirt. It was a wonderfully touching feature, and I tip my cap to the folks at ESPN. They do those 30 for 30 features, and they're terrific work. You don't have any semblance of humanity if you didn't have a tear in your eye when you found out at the end of the story that that young man and his wife are expecting a baby. And what a wonderful thing for that man to look forward to in his life, as that's a called third strike. Eric Campbell is down, and so are the Mets as this game moves along to inning number 6. Top of the order will start things off for the Braves. That's your Delta Airlines on deck trio. The right stuff, the low price every day. Joe and Chip with you from Citi Field in New York. Tom Hart along as well. Mets 3, Atlanta 1. MLB.TV celebrates its 12th anniversary. Get MLB.TV today for only $12 for the rest of the season. For more information, visit MLB.TV today.
Need a big inning. Braves had a pretty good thing going with batting around in Pittsburgh. Maybe they could put one of those together here.
Jason Hayward 0 for 2 tonight, and riding a 6-game hitting streak. Much happier visit to this point for Jason Hayward in August in New York than last year. Remember August 21st, a horrific beating suffered on a pitched ball from Jonathan Neese. It really changed the dynamic of the Braves ball club. Remember, Jason was leading off at the time, was just killing the baseball. Suffered a fractured jaw here. That's why he wears the face shield on his batting helmet. He skies to shallow center for the first out of the inning. One down. Hayward 0 for 3.
Nice will pitch here on Thursday. Yeah, this ballpark was not kind to the Braves last year, not just in wins and losses, but what you just mentioned with Jason, and don't forget Tim Hudson suffering his fractured ankle here too.
There's Mr. Nice. He will follow Zach Wheeler, who gets the ball for New York tomorrow night.
He hasn't pitched particularly well lately either. Wheeler, on the other hand, has been on fire.
Another fly ball, but Lagares is getting his workout in. He's tracking everything down. 2 outs.
And fly balls from Bonifacio are like what we talked about with Billy Hamilton.
Yeah.
Fly balls from him. Don't want to see him.
2 quick outs. Freeman and Upton to follow. Freddie doubled and scored the first and only Braves run. That came back in the 4th inning. And inside. For so many years, the Mets fans loved to taunt Braves third baseman Chipper Jones by chanting Larry. Well, now they have a chance to chant Freddie. And he's having very similar numbers in his season work against Mets pitching. Freeman came into play tonight with 20 hits and 51 at bats against the Mets with 13 RBIs. And like Chipper at old Shea Stadium and again here at Citi Field, Freddie has enjoyed the road hospitality. He scored 23 runs now in 35 career games here in New York.
He's got numbers pretty close to that against Washington this year too, tearing them up.
He was reaching for that ball, and here is the Freddie Freeman Chipper Jones comparison.
Chipper's of course over an extended career, but still, if Freddie can keep that up over the course of his career, mighty fine.
In the air, Lagares is going to get there. Almost a collision with Eric Young. Lagares caught all 3 fly balls hit to center here in the 6th inning, and the Braves are retired in order. 3-1 New York. Good play, and unfortunately, it's a Mets defender.
6 putouts tonight for Lagares, and that was the prettiest of all of them. Nice diving, rolling catch off the pitcher's bat, but he's also had something to do with the offensive side as he's put the Mets on top with a 2-run homer. Quite a night for him.
And he's due third here in the 6th as Alex Wood, with 1 run of support tonight, trails 3-1. Duda, d'Arnaud, Lagares, and ball low.
It's a very Andrew Jones type night for Lagares.
There's a story online today, one of the New York writers on their ESPN blog, ESPN New York. 5 reasons why fans may want to continue to watch the Mets over the final 5 weeks, and Lagares was the first reason.
Is that right? Would be for me.
Mentioned earlier, he leads the National League center fielders with 29 defensive runs saved. This man, another reason, Lucas Duda. Watching his power numbers, 76 RBIs for him. He's got a shot at getting to 100. John Olerud, Eddie Murray, and Carlos Delgado, the only other Mets first baseman with 100 or more RBIs in a season. It's not to be with this at bat. As Wood struck him out, Duda's 0 for 3, and that's 4 strikeouts for Alex in the game.
Had his first perfect inning in the 5th since the homer. That's 7 in a row set down. Good hook. He's thrown a couple of really good hooks to Duda tonight.
Here's the duo that's given Alex the most trouble. d'Arnaud and Lagares have combined for 4 of the Mets' 5 hits and all 3 runs. d'Arnaud has singled. He's doubled. Braves challenged the result of the tag play at second base. d'Arnaud was called safe. The call was upheld. The Braves lost their challenge. d'Arnaud scored ahead of the Lagares homer. Juan fouled off a couple of pitches before he parked one into the seats and left.
That was a pretty good pitch. Haven't seen too many complaints tonight of Andy Fletcher, but that one was pretty good. Yep.
To third, Chris Johnson backed up, and a close play got the Mets catcher by a half step.
Had to back up on this hop. Good thing he's got a strong arm because d'Arnaud was hustling.
First time d'Arnaud has been retired. Here's Lagares, a single and a homer. 7 hits in his last 13 at bats. So catching him at a bad time. Oh, 2.
Lagares, 25 years old, 6'1", 215, out of Constanza, Dominican Republic.
To left, Upton on the run, still going back, and a couple of steps away from the wall. Is there to make the play. 9 up, 9 down for Alex Wood, but he needs some offense. Who better than Justin Upton to provide it? We'll see if he can as we head to the 7th. The 7th inning. Join us at Turner Field this Saturday, August 30th for Military Appreciation Night. We celebrate the U.S. Navy. Braves wore their special red military jerseys. They'll be autographed after the game and auctioned off on Braves.com. All proceeds benefit the Share Military Initiative at the Shepherd Center. We hope you'll join us. It's getting late in New York. We've completed 6. Braves are down 3-1. Squibber up the middle. Tejada dives, keeps it on the infield, and that's all he can do. Infield hit for Upton.
That ball changed directions 5 times. It was hit right off the end of the bat, and just every bounce, the skip was different. No chance for Tejada. Good start to the inning, though.
Upton's 2 for 2. And now Chris Johnson's the batter. Chris is 0 for 2 in the game. No matter how poorly your team swings the bat at times against the Mets, you never really feel you're out of the game. As we mentioned earlier, New York has 70 losses. 33 of those losses have been in games in which they have had the lead. That is an astounding number in this day and age of bullpen specialization. So run here, run there. You feel like you've got as good a chance as anybody to beat up on the Mets pen.
In the stretch where he's pitched so well against the Braves, Dylan G in his last 4 starts has averaged 7 1/3 innings against Atlanta. He's pitched deep into the games.
See if he can pitch himself into a problem here. 3 balls, no strikes.
But only once in this stretch since he beat the Braves on July 9th, only once has he pitched as much as 7 innings, and that was at Philadelphia on August 9th. Got a no decision. Everything else is 5 innings, 6 innings, 5+, 6+.
And on 4 straight, Chris Johnson walks. So the tying runs are aboard for the Braves with nobody out. And as we welcome Evan Gattis to the batter's box, you see the Mets bullpen. Familia and former Brave Buddy Carlisle begin to loosen. And that's Dan Warthen, the New York pitching coach.
I'm still not convinced. I still think it's Drew Carey.
Oh. Haven't seen him in the same place, have you?
Nope.
Gattis has struck out, and he almost hit one right through Eric Campbell at third base last time up. 5th inning single was followed by a line-out double play by Tommy La Stella, who hits next. Right there for a strike.
Well, that was a good pitch to hit.
Double play ball. Sunday hop. Easy turn. Runner at third, 2 down. The Braves have hit the 3 double plays tonight.
Pretty much tailor-made right there. Well, the Braves got their run in the 4th inning after 2 were out, nobody on. Took a 2-out hit from Justin. Let's see if La Stella can come through here.
With 2 outs and runners in scoring position, La Stella's a .313 hitter for Atlanta.
That's pretty good. Real good.
A couple of times in the series against the Reds, Zach Cozart robbed him of run-scoring hits. With that in mind, look at where Tejada's playing La Stella at short. That's right where Tommy had been hitting the ball against the Reds. G's ahead of him, a ball and 2 strikes.
We've already seen Lagares do his thing tonight. Again with 6 putouts in center field, but he is dangerously shallow on La Stella, the way Tommy can drive the ball to gaps.
That's where a center fielder would play against a pitcher.
Yeah. And even Eric Young in left field, who has already been backed up to the warning track tonight in left field by La Stella. He's playing pretty close.
Ground ball sneaks through the right side. La Stella comes through with a 2-out run scoring hit.
Made a mistake on the breaking ball, and Tommy took advantage. It looked like they'd been pretty much, with the exception of a waste pitch inside, they're trying to keep the ball away from him. But this is his hook, and it wasn't a mistake, really. It wasn't a bad one, other than the fact that it was just up in the zone a little bit. And it cost him a run, and he's out of the game.
So La Stella brings the Braves a run closer. That will end the line for Dylan G. 6 2/3 innings, 6 hits, a couple of runs, and a couple of bases on balls. He turns things over to the New York bullpen as the Braves continue to bat in the inning.
Transmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
Braves are knocking at the door here in the 7th inning. They've pulled a run closer against Dylan G. Now they face off with the Mets bullpen. New pitcher on the mound for New York is Juris Familia. He has been busy.
And he's had a good year. 1.97 ERA in 61 games. Can be a little wild at times. You see the walks. 7 wild pitches in 64 innings.
Good cut by Simmons. Fouled straight back for a strike.
Good fastball. Fastball that can range up to 97 or 98 miles an hour. And a slider.
This time of year, you wonder too about workload for rookie relief pitchers. Little pop. First base side, Duda gives chase, but he won't have a play. As good as Familia has been over the last 31 outings, he's allowed 3 runs in his last 9 outings. You wonder if all those pitches starting to pile up.
Might be. Yeah.
He's in a big spot here, trying to protect a 1-run lead with Simmons in the box. Terry Collins is hoping this will be a 1-batter appearance, for the pitcher spot will come up 3rd in the Mets 7th. To short. Tricky hop. Tejada flips to Flores at second, and that will retire the side. Braves cash in a run on 2 hits, and after 6.5 innings, we've got a 1-run game in New York.
Lead on the Braves. Guys, you've been talking a lot about Juan Lagares and his defense tonight for good reason. He's been fantastic for the Mets. We all know that Jason Hayward has been sensational, though, all season long. Saber has a role in the Rawlings Gold Glove Award and the Platinum Glove Award, and they've announced once again and updated their Saber defensive index numbers. Jason Hayward has proven to be the best in the National League. This is our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard. Lagares is second with a number of 16. Cozart and then Arenado. So how good is Jason Hayward? He's twice as good as a third-place guy, Zach Cozart. A lot of different figures go into this overall number. A couple things to remind you that range is important, arm strength is important, infielders turning double plays, first baseman getting scoops, and this represents roughly 25% of the points earned on the way to a Gold Glove or even a Platinum Glove as the best defender in the entire league.
Thank you, Tom.
And how about the fact that we've seen the numbers 2 and 3 guys on this road trip in Lagares and Cozart? We saw enough of Cozart. He robbed the Braves of a lot of hits.
And I like the fact that baseball and advanced metrics, like them, hate them, understand them or not, is trying to truly get a grasp on how to measure defensive excellence. In the old days of the Gold Glove, if you didn't hit, you probably weren't going to win a Gold Glove no matter how good a defender you were.
And there were those that would also claim that if you didn't use a Rawlings glove, you weren't going to win a Gold Glove.
So I applaud baseball for trying to get their collective arms around the attempt to gauge defense and how best to measure it.
I'm still not sold on that. Still not sold on how you measure a guy's range from one park to another on one fly ball or line drive for another. But I applaud their efforts for trying.
I think the folks who just use numbers are making a mistake. The folks who just use their eyes are making a mistake. The marriage of the two is probably the best, and looks like that's what baseball's doing.
Saying you don't trust your eyes?
What's your name again? Tom?
Chip, I think you have a great point. When it comes to trusting our eyes, a lot of times it's only the games that we see in person or those that we watch on TV, right? How good has Brandon Crawford been against the Braves in the 2 series we've seen him this year? He's been one of the best. But with those numbers, he ranks roughly about 10th in the National League among shortstop play. So while you may have an issue with that, we'll look at the raw numbers and say, wow, Brandon Crawford's better than that. To us, he probably is, because the 6 or 7 times we've seen him, he's looked like one of the best in baseball. But overall, in the course of the 110 games that they've played, he hasn't performed to that level that our eyes have shown us.
See, I don't agree with that, Tom. I don't buy that. I'll put it that way. That just because he's ranked 8th, 9th, or 10th, it may have to do with the fact that he's getting to a whole lot more balls than the guys that are ranked 5th, 6th, and 7th. I just think that sometimes you're unjustly graded by how many errors you make when you may be getting to a whole lot more balls than the guy who plays it safe all the time.
Well, that's a good point. Andrelton Simmons is in double digits in errors this year. That is an un-Andrelton Simmons-like defensive season. But I think everybody who follows the Braves and watches them, and anyone who follows the Braves and analyzes that man's play using sabermetrics would agree he's the best shortstop in the National League, because he gets to the number of balls that are hit. And using that number that you mentioned earlier with Andrelton and Chris Johnson, 22% of all ground balls hit to the left side of second base got through for hits last year. That says a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how you measure that sabermetrically. I just know that that's what the number is. As Tejada bats, a ball and 2 strikes with 1 out. And a liner down the right field line. That's headed for the seats.
Just to clarify what I'm saying, that yes, Tom's right. We saw Brandon Crawford play really well against the Braves for the Giants. So what I saw, regardless of what his ranking might be, you're not going to be able to convince me that he can't play shortstop very well. He may be making a few more errors, but he can play on my team. You know, if I'm putting a team together, I like him. So that may not be the only criteria one would want to use, but you can't tell me he's not a good shortstop.
Well, to paraphrase Ric Flair, only one guy can be first, but they can all be next when it comes to evaluating their work.
To what?
Defensive work.
Okay.
As
speaking clarification.
Yes, a strikeout for Alex Wood of Tejada. That's 6 strikeouts and 11 straight retired. But yeah, you got 15 starting shortstops, and Familia's going to hit for himself here. Somebody's going to finish first, somebody's going to be last, and that doesn't mean they're worst necessarily. So Familia will hit for himself. And hey, big swing. And I don't think this is the guy that Julio Teheran has in mind with stitching on his glove.
No.
Amo mi familia. Alex will try to finish with a flourish. His spot on the lineup card is due first when the Braves hit in the 8th. He's down only a run. And after the Lagares homer, no Mets have reached. Shot toward third. Nice pickup by Chris. He continues his good defensive work. 3 up, 3 down, 12 straight retired by Alex Wood. He needs some help. The Braves bench in play as we head to the 8th. A 1-run game in New York. What a great shot. And it's time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag SouthFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by our friends at AT&T. So Familia will stay on for New York. He will face the 9-1-2 hitters for the Braves. Ryan Doman grabs a bat. He will hit for Alex Wood. Alex went 7, 5 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 6 strikeouts. He retired the final 12 he faced, but the Lagares homer, the deciding blow in the game to this point. 114 pitches on the night.
Really settled down. Hopefully can be rewarded here.
He's down only a run, 3-2. Doman looking for his first hit of the year against the Mets. He's 0 for 10. And Familia with a quick strike. Fly ball into right center field. This one will be handled by Lagares. Doma 10 for 58 now this year as a pinch hitter. He's out number 1. And here's Hayward. Jason's 0 for 3. Again, his 6-game hitting streak is on the line tonight.
Well, you know what the feeling probably is in the Mets dugout. 33 blown leads this year. They've got to go through the heart of the Braves order again. And it's just a 1-run game, so they're probably on pins and needles over there again. But this guy's been so good, that's why he got to hit for himself and stay in the game. One guy Terry Collins could count on.
Bouncing ball towards second. And the peg to first in time by Wilmer Flores takes care of Jason Hayward. And 2 quick outs. Bonifacio is 0 for 3. Emilio got the start in center for B.J. Upton. Pittsburgh leads the Cardinals. That's 2-1 in the 7th. Andrew McCutchen had to leave the game again. Slammed into the fence trying to make a catch up against the wall in the 3rd inning. He left. Paul McCutchen had a fractured rib. Came back to play against the Braves. Was wearing a flak jacket to protect the rib cage. Apparently hurt himself tonight at home against the Cardinals. Bonifacio tried to bunt. Need a base runner and then somebody to pop one.
Yeah, not a bad idea at all. He showed bunt. Nobody really moved much on the pitch before.
There's a base hit to left by Bonifacio. Nice approach. And he represents the tying run. Freddie Freeman will come to the batter's box, and decision time for Terry Collins. Their bullpen just got up a moment ago, and Dan Warthen will buy some more time as he visits with Familia.
They've got a couple of lefties. They've got Dana Evelyn and Josh Edgen. But neither one of those I don't think are up at the moment. Looks like a right-hander.
Nobody up and throwing now for the Mets.
No.
So it's Familia's game. Freeman's doubled and scored. Freeman has worn this guy out. He's 4 for 5 with a homer in his major league career. Perfect 3 for 3 this year. Bonifacio's running. The pitch, a ball. The throw to second is into center field. Lagares, though, playing shallowly, was able to back it up and keep Bonifacio at second. He's in scoring position. The last thing he wanted to do was risk being thrown out at third with Freeman in the box.
I don't think there's any question but what Emilio would have gotten up and taken off, except for the fact that he looked up and realized Lagares plays shallow. He's right there. He was ready. And we've seen d'Arnaud do that before this year when he was launching balls into the outfield.
Now a single could tie the game. And Freeman didn't get a good live fastball at 97.
Got to tune it up. He's also got a double mixed in there too. But here we are again. You got the guys up there that you want. In this case, Freeman with Upton on deck. And if they are the ones that produce, then the Braves win.
High fly ball toward left. That's going to be caught, and Familia lives to tell the tale. He allows a 2-out single and a stolen base, but Freddie flies out to left to send this game to the home eighth. The Mets protect a 3-2 lead. Mazda game summary. The Mets giving the Braves fits once again and leading game one tonight.
And it's Dylan G. I mean, it starts with him. Yep. He hasn't been pitching well at all, but he always seems to have the Braves number. Alex Wood had a couple of rough innings, and the home run by Lagares, certainly the difference in the game right now. Justin Upton, a couple of hits, including an RBI double. The other RBI belongs to Tommy La Stella. It, too, was with 2 outs.
So after retiring his final 12 batters, Alex Wood will turn things over to Jordan Walden, trailing 3-2. Walden has the top of the order coming up for New York. Young, Granderson, and Campbell. First pitch swing and a line drive to center. There's Out number one. 13 straight Mets have been retired. Curtis Granderson's the hitter. Remember him? He was our AT&T Uverse trivia question earlier this evening. The last 10 years, who's the only player with more homers and steals than Curtis Granderson? I think we've had this question before.
Yeah, I'm a little stymied on that one.
I think I have a guess. First the pitch. Granderson, flare into left. And Upton's got it. 2 pitches, 2 outs. Alfonso Soriano was a 40-40 guy.
Yeah, that's a great call.
And he's the answer. Because the Cubs are coming here next. Soriano used to play for the Cubs. So he's the only guy with more homers and more steals than Curtis Granderson. Fourteen straight Mets are retired. Here's Campbell. Ball one. 1-run games this year. The Mets have won 19 and lost 25. The Braves are 21 and 21.
That's their closer, Henry Mejia.
They'll have Upton, Johnson, and Gaddis in the ninth. Ground ball short. Andrelton to his left. And we have a 3-2 game through 8 in New York. 15 straight Mets are down. Let's see if Atlanta can come up with a tying or leading run. We'll find out in the ninth next. Mazda dealers, its last call for Atlanta. We head to the ninth inning. It's a 3-2 New York lead. Before we tell you who the new Mets pitcher is, we want to invite you to a free post-game concert this Sunday, August 31st, when the Braves are back at beautiful Turner Field. Christian pop rock band The Newsboys will perform after the Braves take on the Miami Marlins. VIP field passes are still available for the show for only $20. Get them at Braves.com/concerts today. And this is Henry Mejia, the closer, but he's had some issues of late for New York.
49th game for him. He'd rather be a starter. He's made that perfectly clear. Sometimes he pitches like he would rather not be out there. But he does have 18 saves. Has more than a strikeout per inning pitch. A lot of walks. And the .268 average against him. Braves have 29 comeback wins this year. That's tied for third in the National League. Maybe they got another one in them right here.
Well, all they need is one to tie, and they've got a red-hot Justin Upton coming up. Upton scored one of the 2 Braves runs. He's reached base all 3 times tonight. And you saw his good numbers against Henry Mejia, who's allowed 7 earned runs and 2 homers in his last 8 2/3 innings dating back to August 4th. So the Braves have some hope.
Only 2 of those 29 comeback wins have come when the Braves have trailed after 8, however.
Upton's behind 0-2. And as we showed you, 4 for 5, 2 homers against the Mets closer. G, Familia, and Mejia now for New York on the mound.
Like a starter, he's got 4 pitches: fastball, slider, curve, and a change. Fastball tops out about 95.
And there's a start. On an 0-2 pitch, Justin Upton reaches out and strokes a single to right field. He's 3 for 3.
Is that not a good piece of hitting? Behind in the count. I think he got a fastball and a good one. Might have been a little bit of a slider that didn't break much, but didn't try to pull it, wasn't trying to hit it out of the ballpark. Nice line drive to right.
So there's a 9th inning start for Atlanta. Chris Johnson, the hitter. Chris is 0 for 2 with a walk. He's 1 for 5 against Mejia lifetime. Final in Philadelphia. The Phillies have beaten Washington. That's a 4-3 final. Here the Braves trail by a run themselves, 3-2. Ground ball left side. Campbell's got it. Fires to second, 1 on to first, 2. That's the 4th double play Atlanta has bounced into tonight. The 2nd by Chris Johnson. And that gives him 20 for the year.
Look what Flores did here. Remember, he came across the bag earlier tonight, and Justin couldn't get to him because he was so far off the bag. This time he used the base for protection. He changed it up, went to the outfield side of second base, and used that to keep Justin off of him, and still turned it.
So the Braves down to their last out, but they've got to get Gaddis. Gaddis 1 for 3. Strike 1. Here's your AT&T fan photo of the game. You know where to tweet it. Game on the line in the 9th.
Thank you, Lila.
Fan photo, as always, brought to you by AT&T. Ball and a strike for Evan Gaddis. $22,406 at Citi Field. Up and away. And that is now a 2-2 count. just missed. Good eye by Evan.
Laid off a couple of toughies. And square up that fastball. Pitched himself into a fastball count.
Strike three ends the game. Henry Mejia gives up a leadoff hit in the ninth. A double play and a called third strike. Ends it for New York. 3-2 your final score. And the Mets have evened up the season series with the Braves. 7-7. And they win game one of the set.
Slider, not the fastball. High, but he got the call.
The Braves offense struggled again tonight. 4 double plays, a big part of the story as the Mets are all smiles. 3-2 your final. We'll recap it after this.